What's crack-a-lackin' YouTube? Cosmos here, bringing you some SMITE content. Today we will be going over the latest patch to SMITE. Well, not the latest patch, but the newest upcoming patch to SMITE. Aside from the bonus notes, of course. This is the big patch 8.8, the Ceaseless Whirlpool, release of Charybdis, and lots of other fun changes and cool skins. And it includes the best skin that I personally have ever seen add to the game, which we will be going over, touching on a little bit. Let's get right into it, shall we? We'll be looking at this from a Joust perspective, of course, as most of my content is related to Joust. But we might see like my thoughts on how this affects the game as a whole. Well, start with the new god. I don't want to get into this too much because it's hard to tell really what a new god's going to do until you really see him in action, see the gameplay, see how they interact with other characters and whatnot. But just giving some light preliminary opinions on what I think of this character. Character is a hunter. Very cool hunter at that. Her passive, she's a daughter of Poseidon, and she's related to Scylla. The kind of, in mythology, they go hand in hand. It's Greek myths, like Scylla and Charybdis are this big like obstacle that sailors have to go through, and you have to choose the lesser of two evils. Whatever you think you can survive. Can you survive the Scylla that's gonna try and kill you, or the Charybdis that's gonna try and kill you? And in the lore, Charybdis is a whirlpool, so they've kind of humanized her a bit here, of course, though she does have some whirlpool aspects to her, which we'll read into in a little bit. None of this is really going to make complete sense unless you've seen like actual graphics on what the god looks like and how her abilities cast. But I'm going to be assuming that you have seen some graphics / are really good at picturing what this might look like. So give some early thoughts on what I think of Charybdis. She's got a passive like Poseidon. Poseidon's passive is Rising Tides, I believe. Hers is Raging Tides. And it gives her attack speed up to 25% attack speed. Once she hits level 20, she can stack it up with basic attacks and with one of her abilities. She gets a good hefty chunk of attack speed. And she has an auto attack chain where it's normal auto, and then she does a triple auto, kind of like a throwing daggers type of thing. And the triple auto, it says item damage reduced by 35%, so you can't like get a triple chin size proc that does like 300% of what your normal damage would be. It's gonna be a little bit more if like you hit the triple auto. You'll get 105% damage instead of 100%. So well, that'll be pretty good, I guess. So your crits will hit slightly harder, and you'll get 2% Tide on hit of a basic attack, so it'll take you a long time to stack up Tide just from basic attacks, unlike Poseidon where your Tide like goes up by like 10% with like every single auto attack. So you like Trident and then you hit something 3 times and you get like a fully stacked passive. Like this god's gonna take a lot longer because you only get 2% Tide per hit, and her full auto attack chain is you get 2% on one auto, 2% on the next auto, and then you get a maximum of 6% on the last auto because it's a triple auto. So you get 10% through a whole rotation of auto attacks. It would take you 10 cycles of 3 auto attack casts for you to stack this to 100%. So that's a long time. Luckily for you, that's sped up a bit by her first ability, Spike Shot, which is kind of like a ROM one, where it pierces, but it stops on gods, and when it hits a god, it splinters into like an octagon, I think. Maybe it's a hexagon, actually, of damage that doesn't do that much damage. Here's the splinter damage. And it's, you know, it's interesting. Kind of looks like the wheel on a ship, the steering wheel, the targeter. You like fire it out, and then if it hits a god, it like splinters and all this stuff. You can also just shoot it at a wall and get the splinter effect as well off of a wall. So that's kind of interesting. And you get a lot of Tide from this because the splinters will give you 2% Tide per hit, just like any normal basic attack. And it's a stim, so you get that piercing auto into explosion off of gods / walls for 4 seconds. It empowers your basic attacks, so it'll allow you to stack up the passive really nicely. And it'll be good minion clear if nobody's body blocking your auto attacks, kind of like a ROM. Her 2 ability is the one that I believe you will be leveling first. you won't be leveling this because, you know, it can get blocked, slash, you have to get really close to the wave to get full effect from it. So you're going to level this ability, which is a big cone. Kind of looks like a Hoonbots 2 almost. And the impact of this cone is determined by how much tide you have. It's very interesting. Like, you really got to see this stuff to really understand it. But this ability doesn't go super far. It goes about 55 units, I believe, is the number. So about the range of a normal jump. So it's about kind of like a Hoonbots 2, but a little bit smaller, the cone. And tide affects it a lot. You can get Prot Shred on this ability up to 40%, which is insane. That's a Titan's Bane passive proc worth of physical protection reduction. And it's physical protection reduction. It's not just like only for you. It'll help all of your teammates. So if you get the full thing on this, it's pretty nasty. And how it works is it starts in a small cone, and then if you have enough tide, you can charge it up and make it a big cone and get all of these big effects. And you got to hear the sound effects on this character. It's really cool. Really great effects. I like this character a lot. Just the design, from a design perspective. So that's all on her 2. You're mainly going to be clearing, I think, with your 1. Like, you're just going to be using your 1 and hitting the front minions, maybe. And then, because you had to be pretty close to get, like, any of this stuff off to maximum effect. But let's move on to her 3. I'm trying to keep this kind of light, though we've spent a lot of time on this character already. That's okay. Her 3 is one of her best abilities. She goes into an immune state for 3 seconds, which is kind of good, you know. Gets into her soul 3. It takes her half a second to actually get into the state, however. She, like, has to, like, throw her arm into the ground and become a whirlpool. She, like, basically becomes a whirlpool. It's pretty cool. And she has, like, a Pele effect where she can press 3 again and move faster in it, and it does damage. It's like a big whirl. It's a moving whirlpool, basically. And it does damage. Pretty cool. And makes you immune to things for 3 seconds. And untargetable. So you can avoid a lot of abilities with this, and you can move quite a bit faster with this. 20% extra movement speed, or 40% extra if you press the 3 again and get that Pele effect. And I believe you need to have enough tide to use the Pele effect. Yeah, it says this ability can be amplified by toggling it again and spending 30% tide. So you need to have 30% tide to use this to maximum effect. And if you do use that extra 30%, you do a bit more damage and you get a knock up on the end. But this ability is very good. 15-second cooldown at max rank. Does a hefty amount of damage, so you can use it aggressively or defensively. And you would think it would be incredibly broken, but it does have a caveat that doesn't say here, where it takes, like I said, half a second to actually get into the immunity form. So, like, if somebody, say a Susano, blink 2s you, it's not like you can be Baba Yaga and immediately press your 3 and be knocked immune. Like, he'll actually pull you out of this, because it'll take you a little bit of casting time to get into it. So you can get comboed pretty hard if somebody's able to jump you like that. But her ultimate, super sick. It's kind of like a Scylla ult, and also kind of like a Kraken at the same time. You basically, like, go into this Scylla-like state when you're ult, and you can throw out this tentacle, basically. And it has 2 portions to it. You can throw it. It does a straight line portion, and then it does a cone bite. And the straight line is a push, and the bite is a cone. The push, it's a push into a stun. And you can actually choose how long the push goes. So you can, like, bite at your feet, or you can bite out into the distance somewhere. I think it goes about, like, it goes pretty far, actually. Maybe like 60 units or something. And it does a hefty amount of damage, and of course, like Scylla, if you kill someone with it, it'll reset. And you get to move faster when you use it too, so this character's got a lot of things going for her. Definitely, I think she's going to be super, super strong just off of a first look here, but like I said, we'll have to see her in game before we can really determine how good she is. Let's move on to stuff that we know a little bit more about. God skins. I'll just look at these briefly. I like this skin, like that skin. That skin looks cool. I think all the skins are pretty good. Charybdis Mastery skins look really nice. Ra got a new skin. Kind of like the Oleron skin that Oleron got recently. Frog Donza's pretty sick. I think this skin right here, Kulu, You guys have to look up some video on this, because this is the best skin that I have ever seen put in Smite. The effects are so amazing. And, oh my lord. I'm a sucker for animation stuff, and this is the king of any animated skin that's been put in Smite, easily. There aren't that many of those, though. There's like, what, Doodle Raw, and this, and probably one other I'm not thinking of. But you gotta see this one. Biggest fan, Zhongqi. Zhongqi Neath cosplay, very nice. Heimdall, classic box is returning, pretty hype. A nice little Thanatos skin, another Neath skin, who would have thought. Malworm Jormungandr looks pretty cool, and then mystery skin. That's just a bug. Don't look at that. Okay. Anyway, we moving on. Skipping through quality of life. Oh, this is going to mean something to some of you guys. I see you piping up in the comments about how you get the MMR for GM, but it doesn't put you in. Hopefully, this change right here, ranked leaderboards are undergoing a series of back-end engineering changes and fixes. Hopefully that makes it so we can actually get put in into GM when we get the MMR for it. See what happens. A lot of this stuff is kind of just quality of life, blah, 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 fixing. But this here is an interesting one, Mannequin Hidden Blade. Mannequin Hidden Blade is infamously bugged right now to deal maximum health or damage based on the opponent's maximum health when you get the ability proc, and apparently that's how it was always supposed to be, and so they're going to keep it like that. However, the 75 auto attack damage that it is bugged to give to magical characters, not sure if that's getting fixed. It doesn't say, but you know, we've had invisible changes happen in the past, so we'll see what happens. You never know, maybe changing it, or actually no, this looks like they're not changing anything. Okay, anyway, on to Charon's Coin. Apparently Charon's Coin was giving more HP 5 than it was supposed to give, over double actually, and that's going to be put to a stop. Oh, that's good. Big one for us. Joust map is changing rotation to the Chinese Joust map of Season 3. Those of you that are on console, this is the map that you came into the game on. So, big wide peepo happies in the chat box. I'm not the biggest fan of this map, but I do like it more than the Season 1 map, so, you know, I'll take it. It's going to replace all normal co-op ranked matches. You can play Classic Joust and Customs still. It abides by similar rules, no deaths toll, benevolence. And you'll be able to get over some of the issues this map had. The main issue I had with the map is that it had like no farm on it. So increasing XP split bonus from 0 to 0.65 is going to be good. So that's from like minions, that's from camps. So any source of split XP, you're going to be getting some extra when you split. So that's good. And you're going to get some movement speed out of the base, which is nice. Mana camps can be hit. Like any camp can be hit as soon as they start coming out of the ground. They changed the models of the damage camp from the, I think they were what? They were just normal tigers or something, and now they're Jade Corruption tigers, like from the Jade Corruption map. And then they reduced the volume of some looping ambient sounds. I believe what that refers to is when you spawn in, you know how the order base and the chaos base have like sounds that they make when they load in. I specifically remember the order side base made this like, whoa, what's that sound where like, oh, I can't remember what it's called, where you ding, you like, it's like a ding. It's like a ding, just that over and over again. So hopefully that'll make that a little bit more bearable. This is some conquest stuff. Don't mind too much about that. But this is pretty funny. I saw that fix an issue where lane minions would sometimes ignore enemy gods that entered their line of sight. And I feel like I've seen that at least 10, 20 times in past patches, and it's never worked. Maybe it'll work this time. Into item changes. We got support starter items. War Flag, Sentinels, and Benevolence, when you upgrade them, will now only cost $12.50 to upgrade. Still level 17 is when you can get these. Of course, this for Joust, this will only affect War Flag and Sentinels since we can't get Benevolence. But it doesn't really impact Joust very much. definitely more of a conquest change, because they're a little bit more starved on gold in that mode. It won't do much for us, I don't think. It's just 250 gold off of the item, so it'll be nice. It'll feel good, but kind of whatever. Bracer of Radiance. I think this item's still dead. Gives 5% extra on the movement speed unupgraded, and then 5% extra on the movement speed upgraded, 5% extra on the power. This item, I don't really like very much, but I think it could be utilized and actually do something, but I don't know. I just like other relics more. Might have to mess around with it. And they changed the icon. Icon looks nicer. So now you won't have like people that are coming back to duel and being like, oh, Bracer's still the same. Let me buy Bracer. Wait, this isn't healing me. Sundering Spear, warranted nerfs here. 15-second increased cooldown at both ranks of it. And decreasing the damage amplification from 10% to 7% on the upgrade. I believe the base Sundering Spear is 5% damage increase. Maybe 3%. I don't remember. But I think the main thing this is going to do is make it so you don't really feel like spending the extra 5% or 500 gold to upgrade this that early, so it's not like a really big thing that you need to do. Like a lot of the time you feel like you have to upgrade Sunder, right? But I don't think you need to do it anymore. And this is definitely a warranted nerf. I think Sunder's still good, still a great item. You'll still probably buy it every single game. But definitely a good nerf, because this item is way too strong. Negative comments from certain communities on the... Yeah, people don't like the Joust map. But apparently people did like the Joust map. Ajax said that apparently a lot more people were playing it when it came out. And it kind of went back to average state that like the old Joust map was on. The old new, the new old. And Joust just running as normal. Same amount of players and whatnot. So... we'll see what this next map brings, I guess. I think the next map will bring a lot more players back, because Joust is mainly a mode, or a big mode. Most of the players are on console. And this is the first map that console players played on when they started playing SMITE, because it was, you know, Season 3. And so I think that's going to bring back a lot more players. We'll see what happens. Anyway... Charon's Coin, another nerf, went from 90 to 80 power last patch, and now it's going from 80 to 70. And I don't think I'm going to be buying this item anymore. I think I'm going to be buying Obsidian Shard again. Like 70 power, like they just keep making it weaker and weaker and weaker, and I really don't want Charon's Coin anymore. 70 power versus 90 power from Obsidian. I'll have to pay $25.50 instead of $2,400, but 150 gold for a little bit extra power. Like 20 extra. You know, I'm starting to lean towards the Obsidian. I might have to drop Charon's Coin from the roster. Frostbound Hammer, I think this item you should never be building anyway, but they're nerfing it. So now you should definitely not be building it. Minus 50 health. Minus 5% movement speed slow from melees, 5% slow from range. So it's not actually the biggest nerf. Like, if you're buying this item just for the passive, it's still a good passive. But, yeah, I've never been a fan of Frostbound. Jade Emperor's Crown, on the other hand, I like a lot. But let me return to Frostbound real quick and say why I don't like this. It's because when you buy this, you just buy straight up HP... and power, no defenses. So if you build Frostbound, people start focusing you. You just die fast. Like, you just bought an item that gives you nothing protection-wise. And that's big squish. That means I kill you. And against teams that are kind of more organized, Frostbound Hammer feels terrible. Like, they gang up on you and you're just dead. You never get the opportunity to have impactful use of that slow. Like, Frostbound feels really good when you're able to find a 1v1 versus somebody that can't 1v1 you. And you're just able to keep them slowed down and they can't escape from you because you're just slowing them. And you're killing them over the course of like 8-10 seconds, you know? But you're just not able to do that in an organized game. So I just never liked this item. Great ranked and casual pub stomp item. Sure. Actual feasible usage in a real competitive game? No. Moving on. Jade Emperor's Crown. Reducing physical power on the aura. Or increasing physical power reduction on the aura. From 20 to 25. I like that. It used to be 30 when it was super, super, super busted. And now it's 25. So I think Jade Emperor's Crown is definitely buyable now. Thing gives what? 20 power, 25 phys power reduction now, 60 prot, 150 health, 2150 gold. I like it. I'll be buying this. I might be buying it, rushing this. Be really nice. This item kind of gets indirectly buffed when boots got removed, just because power reduction is way more prevalent earlier on. But yeah, this will be very nice. I like it. Harlanemian Lion, increased phys prot by 5, and decreased protections needed per stack of the block from 120 to 100. A revert. I like this, but I don't think I can fit Nemean into my build still. Like, this isn't a significant enough nerf or buff for me to want to put it into my build. I still think items like Pridwin, items like Mantle are going to be more useful than Nemean. Though if you're against like a heavy auto attack comp, maybe you do consider the Nemean a bit more heavily. Like after a Thebes and a Pridwin, you slap a Nemean on there, then you'll have 2 stacks on the Nemean because the Thebes is going to give you 100 prot. The Pridwin's going to give you 60, so that's 160, and the Nemean gives you 80. That gives you 240 built prots, which allows you to stack up to 2 block stacks. Maybe you're against, I don't know, you're against Olarun and a Hunter on the same team. Yeah, these block stacks would come in handy. Or you're against a Daji, or you're against another assassin that really relies on like a Hydra's proc or something to deal a lot of damage. Could help you a lot. Moving on, Bulwark of Hope. They buffed the heck out of this item. 20 extra magic prot. And instead of getting an 150 health shield plus 10 per level, giving you a maximum of 350 at level 20, you'll get 15% of your maximum health. So let's think about that. A normal Guardian build, what? You have, let's say, 3,000 health. Maybe a little bit more. I'm being a little bit on the low side just to see what this is looking like. 3,000 health multiplied by 15% gives you a 450 health shield. Ooh, that's meaty. And you get 20 extra magic prot from this guy. So I think Bulwark is going to be an item that you want to buy now. Like, you buy your first item, you buy Jade Emperor's Crown, and then you buy Bulwark. That's my thought process right now. Like, you could do something like that. But definitely heavily consider picking Bulwark of Hope up, because those shields are great. And you'll probably not be getting them countered, because the big counter to shields is, you know, Sunder. And you usually use Sunder when the opponent is higher HP. So Bulwark procs when you start getting lower HP, meaning that this shield is going to be very impactful. As we just mentioned, just 3,000 health, which is, you know, pretty average for a Guardian. At maybe like, I don't know, what level is that? Maybe like 15 or something? 14? With a few items built? And then late game, if you build like E-Staff and stuff, you're climbing into 3,800, 4,000 health. You have a Kulu ult, and you get a health shield. Like, you're getting a lot of health. 150 health per 1,000 HP you have. That's a good amount. So if you have 4,000 health with some E-Staff procs, very manageable. You can get yourself a nice little 600 health shield on your Bulwark procs. That's pretty powerful. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be slotting Bulwark of Hope into my builds now. It probably will replace, if you guys build Talisman of Energy, that's the item that this will replace. It's going to... Talisman gives 60 prot, so... I mean, I'd rather have 80 prot than 60 prot. And what Bulwark allows you to do is you can kind of bait yourself super hard by just throwing yourself at the enemy. And they won't expect all this tankiness and all this shielding. So you can kind of lure your opponents in and allow your teammates to follow up and kill them off of them committing too hard on you. And with the buffs to Bulwark, that'll be a lot more feasible. Stone of Fall, moving on. Increased health from 150 to 200. Increased the prots by 10. And increased the passive buff by 2% to 3%. Those are nice buffs. But I think Stone of Fall is always going to be bad until it costs less than 2,500 gold. Because it is just not worth picking up on a tanky character an item that costs that much for not enough benefit, and I don't think this is enough benefit. Like, these are, like, just looking at the raw buffs, those look like really big buffs. But the item is just too niche and too expensive for me to ever want. Like, you're going to build this on what? Zhang Kui, Ao Kuang? You only get the passive buff when you hit enemy gods. So, like, I don't know. On characters like that, you're going to be getting jumped more often than you're going to be doing the jumping. And it's going to take you a second to stack up all the passive stuff. So, I don't like it. Anyway, moving on. Blackthorne Hammer. Very welcome change we have here. Increasing the power from 35 to 40 is a big one. And increasing the health from 350 to 400. Really, really nice buffs for Blackthorne. I think this is going to bring back a characters that utilize the health and the power really nicely while trying to go a hybrid build. We're thinking specifically an assassin character that's name starts with Na and ends with Ja. The health on assassin is extremely nice when you're going a hybrid build because assassins don't have very high health scaling. So if you're going a tanky build, you really want to get some health in the build because it doesn't matter how many prots you build. Like if you build like 300 raw prots on a Naja, you're still going to have like 1900 health at level 20, right? You need to build some health. None of the prots matter if you don't have any health pool to work with. So the Blackthorne Hammer is definitely a nice addition. Though, of course, the weakness of Blackthorne Hammer is it has no protections on it. So if you go Blackthorne, which is a really cheap, high health item now, with good amount of power on it, that's like a warrior tabby worth of power. You can throw a Blackthorne and then slot a Spirit Robe in right after. Spirit Robe's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to give you those protections that you're looking for, the crowd control reduction you're looking for, and damage mitigation, the also important stat, which will work perfectly with 400 health. So I think Blackthorne is going to be an item to pick up first, once again, and then, like I said, slotting in something like a Spirit Robe after to get the tankiness from protections and mitigation. Moving on, Staff of Miran. Item sucks. 2,800 gold I'm paying for 85 power, 10% pen, 10% cooldown reduction, and a passive that sucks. Moving on. Dominance. Increased passive attack bonus penetration from 10% to 15%. This is nice to make it so that Dominance isn't just a worse version of Titan's Bane. But I don't think there's a slot for Dominance right now in Hunter builds, or just any builds. I just feel like you want Titan's Bane, or you want Crit, or you want, like, literally any other item over Dominance. So, I don't like it. I don't think this is going to do very much for it. Maybe if they buff it to 20% bonus attacks, bonus penetration or something. Nerfs to Vamp Shroud, losing 5 magical power. Blood Soaked, losing 0.5% of health and mana restoration. Nice little nerfs. Vamp Shroud is kind of like the go-to right now for mages. So, a nice little nudge in the right direction. These little nudges, you would think they wouldn't do that much, but they're very impactful. Just 5 power makes a big difference. Especially when you do something like buffing Conduit Gem's power by 5. So, Conduit is kind of back to normal, right? This is exactly what it was when it was first introduced to Season 8. Except it didn't have MP5 on it before, and it didn't have mana on it before. So now it's got... Oh, no, it did have MP5. It didn't have mana, though. So now it's got, like, the exact same thing it had going in, plus 100 mana. So, Conduit Gem might get picked up a little more. However, I personally believe that Sands of Time is just the superior mage starter. So I will probably still just exclusively build Sands of Time, unless it's a mage that utilizes one of the other starters really well. Like Freya, I'd probably go Vamp Shroud just because Freya with... what's it called? The other shroud. What's the other shroud? Not Blood Soaked. Oh, God. Sacrificial Shroud. Freya with Sacrificial Shroud is just too good. Because it gives 15% extra damage on your 2 and your 1, which is a long channel ability. 6-second duration on that sucker. Like, you know. You'll still want to get other starters based on your character is what I'm trying to say. So, that's a nice little nudge in the right direction, I think. Hi-Res wanted to make it so that you're not, like, always going one starter. So you're thinking, like, okay, this character, I go Vamp Shroud. Stella, I build Conduit, like, etc., etc. I always get Sands of Time on X-God. And Conduit on Y-God. That kind of thing. So, good changes. Mannequin Scepter. Nice little quality of life. It's kind of annoying when you like burn something and then it dies, but the burn ended like right before it died and you don't get the sustain back. They're making that a little bit nicer. They don't say exactly what they're doing, but apparently they're giving you a little extra leeway with when the burn runs out relative to when you get the mana and health restoration from Mannequin. Like that. Bumba's Dagger, increasing basic attack damage on jungle camps from 20 to 25. Nice little buff, I guess. Increased damage, ability damage on jungle camps from 30 to 35. So they're just making it better at doing what it already did. It still gives no power, so the 600 gold you spend on this will still feel lost when you're getting into fights. But allow it, just, you know, make it better for jungle clear. I guess that's, I don't really care too much about that, but it's a nice little nudge, I guess. Bumba's Hammer, giving it 10% more cooldown. I don't know why they're doing that, but yeah, I'll take it, I guess. Bumba's Spear now provides 200 health, 10% pen. Or no longer provides 200 health. Now provides 10% pen. And increasing the power a bit. Increased power buff duration from 10 to 30 seconds. I like this item, but knowing that we're going to be playing on the Chinese Joust map, Bumba's Dagger is not relevant anymore. Bumba's Spear is not relevant anymore. The only thing that's relevant is Bumba's Hammer if you make it to level 20. And I don't think you're making it to level 20. So I'm thinking that Bumba's, just all three of those are kind of just whatever for us. Protector of the Jungle, kind of the same thing. You're not going to be building Eye of the Jungle. You could build Eye of the Jungle, actually. Just because it's actually gives some oomph to your fight potential. So we can look at Protector of the Jungle, reverting it. But you're not going to be probably fighting in the jungle on the Chinese Joust map unless you bait them into a firefight. So I guess this could be good, but yeah, this is warranted, the reverts. It's kind of just back to exactly what it was before. And then Seer of the Jungle could be nice on the Joust map, the Chinese Joust map, because there are only so many places you can ward. So if you clear a camp, you can de-ward them everywhere and then start pressuring fire, and you'll know that they don't have vision. So Seer of the Jungle could be nice if you want to buy Eye of the Jungle. Gilded Arrow. I thought that Gilded Arrow was still decent after all its nerfs, and this little buff should help it get picked up more often, but I don't know. I think Cowl might still be superior for Joust hunters. Gilded Arrow maybe for like a soul or something. War Flag. Increased gold reward from 8 to 10. I don't think War Flag is going to be good until it gets the same adjustment that War Banner got, where you can refresh the stacks of your War Flag / War Banner when you hit an enemy god. Because you're just never going to get similar gold, not even close, from a War Flag as you are from a Sentinels. And even a Benevolence, though, you know, Benevolence we can't build anyway. But Sentinels is always just going to always give you more gold. It's not even close. You get so much more money from Sentinels. And, you know, as much as I want to like this change, it's just not enough. It needs to get the War Banner buff. And also, they kind of ruined how multiple War Flags, the interaction works. Specifically with War Banner, where if a whole wave dies, 2 teammates have War Banner, or 2 teammates have War Flag even. Like, one guy gets the passive, but the other guy doesn't. Like, I've had games where me and one other teammate have War Flag. A whole wave dies, we get 10 stacks, so you would think you need to get, 4 individual War Flag stacks. So you have to get stacks from your own War Flag to get this effect, the increased gold. But I've had games where me and another teammate, we both get War Flag stacks. We have 10 War Flag stacks. I start auto-attacking the enemy. I don't get any gold from the passive. My teammate starts attacking. He gets gold. So that's kind of buggy. And I don't like it. Not at all. Because I only like War Flag a lot when multiple people have it. And when it's bugged for multiple people having it. And when you don't get the refresh passive from hitting enemy gods. I don't like it. So until those changes happen to make that a little bit nicer, I don't think I'll be building much War Flag. Moving on. Benevolence. Doesn't matter for Joust, but nice little changes to Benevolence. Animosity got a slight nerf. Be good. Moving on to Gods. Tiamat. Reducing her power scaling by 20% across her kit. Those are good nerfs. Happy nerfs. It's not too heavy, but it's not too light. Because she's got a lot of abilities, and reducing scaling on just a couple of her abilities will reduce her impact a lot more substantially than you might think. Raijin getting a little nerf on his 2. Not that crazy. But, you know, Raijin's a bit strong right now, so I welcome the change. Jormungandr. I like this. Jormungandr is one of my favorite Guardians to play. Just because he does so much damage, and he's just, I don't know. I like being the big snake, you know. Increasing his basic attack damage. They already increased his basic attack damage in the last patch, I believe, from like 9.6 to 10.4 or something. So they're giving him another buff to his basic attack damage. They're giving him a skin. Interesting. Giving him a skin and a bunch of buffs. Interesting. Venomous Haze, that's his 1. Increase the base damage per tick, so when it's just sitting on the floor. Giving it 5 extra damage per rank. Which will add up. That thing sits on the ground for 20 seconds. So that's quite a bit of extra damage. And then a big buff on his 2. Increased magical power scaling of bonus damage from 5 to 10 per stack. So that's like when he draws power from his pools that are on the ground. Already you'll get some extra percent scaling. And then a big one is this. Increased duration of the empowered basic attack. Because after you use Jormungandr 2, depending on how many pools you absorbed, you get extra uptime on your super fast firing basic attacks. So instead of getting, like, you absorb power from 3 pools is the max. Instead of getting 4.5 seconds extra time, you'll get 6 seconds extra time on basic attacks that are getting buffed. So Jormungandr is getting a nice little series of buffs here. And one of his best items is getting buffed as well, Jade Emperor's Crown. And he's a Guardian who has incredibly high base health and health scaling. You may notice if you ever played him that he gets a lot of health. He gets like Ymir type health when he levels up. And I can think of one item. What's it called again? Oh, Bulwark of Hope. It got buffed. It now gives me a shield based on my maximum health, right? Oh, okay. So yeah, Jormungandr is going to be nice. I'm going to go Jormungandr, Jade Emp into Bulwark, and I'm going to be the tankiest little freak to run around the map. Doing a lot of damage. Big fan. Jormungandr is going to be super fun. Moving down the line, we have Bologna. Nice little buffs to her. Don't think they're too impactful. 10% scaling increase on her 1 second off. 2 seconds off of her 3 is pretty big for her. But that doesn't change anything for Joust. I don't think she's that great in Joust. But yeah, people in Duel will hate this. Amma, kind of the same deal. Except I like Amma in Joust. Amma's really good in Joust. Reducing the cooldown of her super long cooldown ultimate from 18 to 16 is really nice for her. And getting more attack speed per level. I think they did this same kind of change a patch or 2 ago. Gave her some more base attack speed or something. So she's just, you know, that sword's going to be swanging. The katana. She'll be schmooving that across your body. Gliding it up and down. So Amma's getting some nice little nudges here. She might be sliding back into the meta. I like Amma. Don't play her enough. And this will make me consider it more. Scotty gets some buffs. Increased Calder's basic attack damage. Don't think this really does anything. Permafrost decreased cooldown from 18 to 16. So same thing that Amma got, but I don't think this makes Scotty much better. I'm not going to lie. She still gets killed by the things she gets killed by. Susanos of the world. Which, you know, Duel people will hate this. Duel people will hate all of this. Okay, moving on. Thoth. Increased basic attack power from 10 to 30 to 20 to 40. Yeah, that does nothing. Moving on. Baba Yaga. Well, in the ultimate, Baba Yaga can now walk through minions. Nice little quality of life. Susano. Scotty's a natural enemy. Possibly her worst matchup. Gets a buff to his base damage. Up by 10 at rank 1, and then he gains 15 instead of... or he gains 30 extra damage instead of 25 per level up. So a nice little extra base damage on the 2. And then Jetstream ticks, what, 4 times or something? So that's 5 extra damage per rank up, so 20 extra damage overall. Ticks 4 or 5 times, I can't remember. But nice little base adjustments to Susano. It does feel like he's a bit weak earlier on. So these aren't like crazy buffs, like adjusting his scaling or anything, because he already does a lot of damage with power items. insane damage, you might say. So base numbers are a nice little tweak for them to see like exactly what'll happen if they try to make him a little stronger. Because you have to be careful with characters like this where it's just raw damage on everything. Like everything he does is just damage, 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 damage. If you buff his damage too much, like he just becomes a god that runs the meta. So you have to be careful with the buffs, and so these are good, careful buffs. Moving on to Ardio. I'm not sure how Ardio got down here. I'm not sure what the ordering is going on here. I thought they used to do this in alphabetical order, but we're all out of sorts here. Moving on to Ardio. Her 1 is getting cooldown decreased by 2 seconds, which is really big. Reducing a low cooldown ability by 2 seconds. Like, let's say we decreased Hebo's 1 from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Like, what would that feel like? That's kind of like this. So you'll get a lot more cast of her 1 in fights now. And her dash cooldown, or her dash ability, is getting changed to actually feel like you're moving faster in the dash. 75% increased movement speed to 100% increased movement speed will feel really good for this character. Ardio could see a little bit more play. Kuzenbo getting a little bit of a small nudge in a happy direction. 10 extra damage at rank run on the Nene Kappa, and he gains 40 damage instead of 35 per rank up. So I don't think it'll be like crazy impact. The main thing you'll feel this on is how fast the wave gets cleared when there's a Kuzenbo against you. So there's a buff. He's still a strong, super strong Joust god, and this will not do very much. He'll still be in about the same spot, I would imagine. But hey, Kuzenbo got buffed. And then the final change of the patch, Nausea, getting a cooldown reduction on his Flaming Spear. That's his 2 ability, the one that heals him and gives him crit and attack speed. Instead of being an 18-second cooldown, scaling down to 14, it'll just be 14 seconds at all ranks. Wow. Nausea sucks right now. Well, he doesn't suck, but he's just not, like, super strong. And this is a nice little buff for him. Don't know if it'll impact him a lot. But I read this. If you read this real quick, it says, Nausea saw heavy shifts, and since then, not much has come from it. While his build options are more opened up and less focused on critical strike, he suffers to fight for control early. Flaming Spear can be a powerful stim and heal, but since it is often ranked last, it's sat at ranked Who's ranking this last? I looked up Nausea before I made this video, and when you level his 3, which is the ability that you would, rank up after the 1, the only thing you get is 50 extra damage. That's it. When you level up the 2, you get the cooldown reduction, 10% attack speed increase per level, and you get increased healing. Like, I don't see why you would level the 3. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, the only thing that makes sense is if you use the 2 first, and then you 3. Because then you have crit chance. So then instead of getting that bonus 50 extra damage on your 3 when you level it, it's like a bonus extra 100 if you crit. But, yeah, I think you should always be leveling the 2 after the 1. And so this will be nice to just have more 2s. But the 2 still won't feel very good until you get a few more points in it, because the heal is what you want. And the heal scales up when you level. Like, the heal sucks right now. Like, it's terrible. It kind of, like, ruined the character for me. But with the buffs to Blackthorne Hammer, I'm thinking that Nausea might be a character I'll play again. I'll be going, like, Blackthorne Hammer, Spirit Robe, Pridwin. That'll give me max CDR. Then I'll slap, like, a Bulwark on it. And then, heck, maybe I'll build a Nemean. Nah, I'll probably go, like, Brawlers or something. Void Shield, maybe. But, yeah. Nausea. Getting some nice little changes. A lot of little changes in this patch that kind of help our tanky characters out. Definitely a lot more boosts to tankier characters than damagey characters in this patch. I'm a really big fan of the changes they've made to the Mage Starter items. But I'm mostly looking at the changes they've made to Blackthorne Hammer, Hide of the Nemean Lion slightly, Bulwark of Hope. Like, Blackthorne and Bulwark are the big ones for this patch. And then Jade Emperor's Crown. Really, really nice adjustments. They did nerf Sunder, though I don't think that'll be that bad. So, a lot of nice little changes happening in this patch. New God, Charybdis is super cool. Amazing skins. Toon Mania Kulu. Definitely check this guy out. It is the best skin I, hands down, have ever seen, ever witnessed. I do not exaggerate. I need this skin. Unfortunately, it is the final reward of the Odyssey skin, so gonna have to figure out the gem situation for that. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Enjoyed the little review we've done of the patch notes. Gotten some insight into what I think. Really excited for Charybdis. Really excited for Kulu. Item change is great. God change is spot on. I don't think I saw a change that was like, huh, why did they do that? Like some of them I thought were a little bit underwhelming. Some changes I thought were really great. But overall, good patch, I would say. So thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to check out my Twitch channel, where I do stream almost daily. Though not always SMITE content. I do stream some old school RuneScape. So there's a link to my Twitch channel in the description of this video. And of course, like and subscribe to the video if you enjoy the content. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.